Hey guys, Tony here. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to use AWS Elastic Load Balancing. Elastic Load Balancing is a handy service that automatically balances the incoming traffic load over all instances under the load balancing's control. In my case, this will be a web server application. The Elastic Load Balancer also detects any unhealthy instances and diverts traffic away from the instance until it becomes healthy again. Now, the first thing that we're going to need is two instances that are identical. So we go into instances. As you can see, I've already got two web servers running. Web server 2 is the exact replica of web server 1. The way I did this was I created an image copy, or AMI, as you can see here. The website AMI you can see here is an exact copy of my web server. Right click on it, click launch. That will actually launch an exact replica of my web server. What we're going to go into is this, load balancing. So there's no load balancers set currently. We're going to create a load balancer now. First thing to do is we're going to have to give this load balancer a name. The name I've decided to go with for the load balancer is My Load Balancer. The next option here you can see is choosing the virtual private cloud that you want the balancer to run on. Mine only has a default virtual private cloud. And these settings here simply to set which port and protocol the load balancer is going to use. So we click next. When we get to step 2, I'm going to select one of my existing security groups, because I know this one has port 80 open, which is the port that load balancing uses to communicate, and click next. Now this simply tells you that if your traffic going over your load balancer needs to be secure, it recommends to either use HTTPS or the SSL protocol. Currently I'm using HTTP because the information that's transferring over my load balancer is not really important, so I don't need it to be secure. And click next. Step 4 is just configuring the protocol that we're going to use for the health checks of the load balancer. I'm going to go ahead and choose TCP and port 80 there. And click next. This next piece is where we add the EC2 instances that the load balancer is going to control. In this case, mine's called web server and web server 2. If you look down here in the availability zone distribution, you can see that one of my instances are in the southeast 2B zone and one of them is in the southeast 2C zone. This requires me to enable cross-zone load balancing. If I didn't have this ticked, it wouldn't work because these are in two different zones. And next, we click next. Step 6, we can add a tag. This is just to identify it later on should you have to. So I'm going to call mine load balance. And same over here. Review and create. Okay, go over all the settings that you've set. Click create. As you can see, it says that we've successfully created the load balancer. Now all we have to do is close, and we have to wait. Go down to instances here. We'll see that both the instances that the load balancer is controlling have a status of out of service. This is because the load balancer is still setting up. Once these come into service, we'll be able to use the load balancer. just hit the refresh button. And there we have it, in service. So that means that the load balancer is now ready. So what we need to do now is grab this DNS name here, or this one down here, both the same thing, and put this into the address bar of your web browser. Take that, copy, paste that in. Now I also need to put the subdirectory of my website, so as you can see, my server currently has an IP of 172.31.0.5. If you watch me press this a few times, you'll notice that the IP address has changed, 172.31.27.11. Hitting the refresh button sends requests just the same as if multiple users were trying to access the website. The two changing IP addresses represent the two instances that the load balancer is using to balance the traffic load. Of course, you can have many more than just two instances on the load balancer, but it's not the only thing that the load balancer does. The other part of the load balancer is the failover. So as you can see here, if I go to my instances again, click on one of those instances, stop that instance, the web page will still work even while the instance is closed. Stopping, but you can also notice one other thing. The IP address is not changing. That's because there's only one instance up at the moment, so it's only using the one instance available until the other instance comes back online, which I'll show you now. The instance is fully stopped now. Right click on it, start the instance back up. Yes. Now we have to wait for this to start up and go through the two status checks before it will be ready to start using again in the load balancing. Alright, both status checks have a tick and the instance is running. So now when we go back to my store, I should be able to refresh and you should see the server IP change again. And that's how you set up the elastic load balancing in Amazon Web Services.